Hey, genderfuckers. You're watching It's Happening Out, America's most popular live gay talk show. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy.
Hello, America. It's Al at It's Happening Out, America's most popular live gay talk show. And this is another edition of the Hot Topic of the Week. What's going on in America that everyone is talking about? And of course, as we know, it's all of the abortion laws that are going on. Roe v. Wade is under full attack on the state level, and we're here to talk about the hot topic of the week. You see the slide? Before we begin and our panelists weigh in on what's going on in this hot topic, we want to show you something a little lighter that caught our eye on this subject, and Georgia's implementation of their new abortion laws. Watch this.
Welcome to Georgia, a state of unparalleled beauty and unconstitutional abortion laws. But most importantly, peaches. Stare at this lighthouse, take a ride on this boat, and hopefully that'll distract you from the fact that a bunch of white men who think a fetus can do karate want to put you in jail for having an abortion, even if you were raped by your Uncle Jeb. But enough about that. Who loves golf? Isn't it relaxing to watch those balls soar across the air? Did you know that once a fetus reaches the size of a golf ball, it can recite the Star-Spangled Banner in Mandarin? How about our landscapes, huh? Oh, don't eat this peach. It's alive and has a heartbeat. And chromosomes too, probably. Who knows? Feel free to eat this hand, however. It belongs to a woman who had a miscarriage. Or visit Stone Mountain Park with over 3,000 acres of trails, lakes, and amusement rides. Like the mental roller coaster you'll ride when you see Stone Mountain itself, the world's largest Confederate monument. Take a leap of faith and explore the state that will give your embryo the right to child support and you no rights at all. In fact, if you perform an abortion, we could lock you up for life or even give you the death penalty. Because that's what pro-life means to us. We found out we had the worst maternal mortality rate in the country and said, how can we make this situation worse? Which was a challenge because that rate was already about 3 times as bad for black women as it is for white women. But check out our cool cities. They boast one of the largest ironic art collections in the country. And wow, look at this mansion. Cool fountain, huh? Georgia is home to historic mansions built by slaves, which are here to remind you that white men will always try to control you. White men who definitely know how the reproductive system works. They can't shave their own backs, but they know what's best for your body. It's so gosh darn empowering. Hey, remember when we dismantled the Voting Rights Act and then Secretary of State Brian Kemp presided over a governor's election that he ran in himself and barely beat a black woman campaigning on, among other important issues, racial justice and gender equality? Us too. There's a reason God made our state in the shape of a pregnant belly. With all the children the government forces you to have, you'll be struggling to keep your head above water. And that's just the way we want it. If you aren't crying yet, you should be. This onion can cry, and it plays the banjo too. So strap on a helmet and dive right into Georgia. We haven't even talked about Alabama yet.
That was so good.
We love Georgia. Well,
is that made by the state of Georgia or just like?
Yeah, well, right. Yeah,
otherwise.
right. Of course, we start our conversation of this hot topic of the week in a lighthearted way, because how do you have a conversation like what is going on over reproductive rights in any other way? Let's try to get the laugh in, and some of us are going to get the joke, and apparently some of us are not going to get the joke.
I feel several eyes on me, like looking at me. Like,
yeah, well, why? What do you think? What do you think about what's going on in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, probably Florida?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously what's happening is horrifying as far as the laws being passed. This video is, and I know everybody's assuming that I'm going to freak out, but no, this is a perfect example of offensive humor done the right way. There's something called punching up. When the person or the thing that you're joking about is, you know, the oppressor, is the thing that's wrong. It's like the Archie Bunker effect. You can make fun of something as long as you're not punching down on the people who are already being oppressed.
An awesome observation.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I've been trying to punch him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Napoleon's the exception to that rule.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'm not trying to.
What do
laugh,
y'all
it's
think?
funny.
What do y'all think about the assault on women's productive rights? Roe v. Wade is the law of the land.
Reproductive rights.
Reproductive rights. I'm sorry, mispronounced. It's the law of the land. What do y'all think about what states are trying to do to basically overturn what the Supreme Court has said is your constitutional right?
I did not know that was possible. Number one, thank you, public school. Changed that we can change that now.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Well,
facing.
states are fighting. They're challenging the law in more unique ways. Let me frame what happened in Alabama. By the way. In Alabama, the reason the law was so significant is the author of the bill in Alabama that implemented it provided no exception at all. There's no exception. Rape, incest, no exception. You cannot have an abortion in the state of Alabama. The person, the politician that wrote the law and ultimately the state legislature passes it and the governor signs the bill, was designed to bring it directly to the Supreme Court as fast as possible because they think that with what's happened in the last couple of Supreme Court nominations, that Roe v. Wade will be overturned. And that's basically what has been generally considered as going on. So it's an attack on the federal level in the Supreme Court and on the state level, like what Texas is doing to even consider the implementation of the death penalty on somebody who commits and
So
performs
they're
an
doing the
abortion.
same thing that they don't want done.
It's absolutely crazy that you might kill the mother because she decided to have an abortion. How does that even make sense on any level to other people? That's what you want to do. I mean, I can see scenarios where men who are making these laws, or at least that's how it's stated, are the ones that are then screwed over because they are the ones that are caught in a shotgun wedding from it.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank you for bringing that up. Let's talk about the number of men whose lives have been saved or improved by abortion. That's something that we don't ever hear them talking about. So, I mean, and of course, it's straight men who are writing these laws, people who don't have uteruses, people who presumably, people who are never going to be affected by this kind of thing.
Right.
Let me reframe to provide a bit of a different question at the table. Many people argue in support of these movements in abortion rights legislation in the state level that people should be more responsible. Women specifically should be more protective and responsible for their reproductive rights, which means they should not be getting pregnant if they don't want to get pregnant, that condoms should be universally used, the pill might universally be used, that there are other methods that are far more desirable than abortion, and that's what they should pursue. What do you think about that?
Well, if you're raped by your uncle, he's not going to wear a condom.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and that's fine with them.
But take rape and incest or medical, a catastrophic medical issue of the mother, of the woman. Take those off the table. What about the broader issue? That is, it's in small minority. The issue that women have responsibility for their own reproductive
Well, and
defense.
that outlines it right
sometimes.
there.
You're in a
Women
moment,
have
you're
responsibility
human.
for their own bodies, and therefore they get to make the decisions about their own bodies. You know, it's funny how we always want to blame women, even though I'm pretty sure
don't.
sperm is required to put a fetus in a uterus. I'm just saying, I don't know how all that straight stuff works, but I'm pretty sure it takes two to tango. And we never talk about, or we never hear about men needing to be more responsible and men needing to take on that burden.
or even just taking the pill, which men can do now, but I doubt that that's going to be one of the responsibilities that gets put on the
No,
men.
God
is the
forbid a
thing.
man gets nauseous, you know.
I want to know how many of these people that they didn't know, but somebody could tell them, oh, by the way, the baby that's coming, it's going to be gay. What are
Or
they going to
trans,
do?
for that matter.
I,
Yeah.
I used to be very
Wait.
anti-
I apologize. I want to pause there.
To the right
Did you
wingers, you're
make
saying.
the observation there that people, some people that are anti-abortion, very strong, might change their opinion if they knew the baby was predestined to be gay?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They're fucking racists.
Yeah. Okay.
Great
They're
point.
racist about the woman. They're going to be racist about a little boy or girl that is a lesbian or gay or
There's gonna be
transsexual.
so many people growing up unhappy. Like if this mother doesn't want a child and can't provide for him, he's going to be growing up poor, hating his life, turning to crime, and there's going to be a whole slew of people that just are just growing up not feeling not wanted.
The flip side to that is they could be given away in terms of adoption, and that I know I have
and
friends that were
system is
adopted.
fucking
I'm not
hideous.
saying that's an easy thing, and it's very difficult for a parent to get to adopt. But
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that were adopted. They wouldn't be here if they had been aborted, flat out.
So here's the thing, though, and I've never actually said this publicly. I'm very glad I'm here, obviously. I turned out fabulous, as you all know. But I believe 100%, wholeheartedly, my mother should have had an abortion. Mom, I know you might be watching. I love you. I'm sorry. That's a rough sentence to hear for you to probably hear me say. My mother should have had an abortion. My mother was underage. My father was not. There was a, shady kind of consent thing there. She was in an abusive relationship that she then stayed in for 10 years because I was born. There are so many reasons between her mental health, her well-being. There was not a good discernible reason for her to have had me. Am I glad that she did? Of course. If she didn't, I wouldn't know any different. Okay. It's a hard conversation to have because it gets emotional, and I get that. I have had miscarriages myself. So, yes, you do tie emotion to that whole process. So I understand why people get so up in arms about it. That being said, it comes down to having autonomy over your own body, having rights over your own personal space. And if you don't want to be a host for a child or a fetus, I should say, then you should not be forced to. Plain and simple, no matter how anybody else feels about it. Other people's feelings cannot be dictating legislature, especially when it comes to people's rights over their own bodies. Mm-hmm. So
well, I'm sure we all agree.
I know I went over time.
No. What you said is valuable. Abortion is the hot topic of the week. Currently, the raging subject in America. I appreciate that share. I'm going to have to digest it. I think all of us, America, are going to have to digest the paradox of I'm glad I'm here, but you shouldn't have made the decision you made, which is what Aaron just told us.
Looking out for mom.
Yeah.
You care.
Yeah. I have to think about it.
People may go through it first.
It's a big issue. Of course, it's going to go on. And we're going to
Mm-hmm.
continue to watch what happens at the Supreme Court and the individual states. If you're tuning in to watch this conversation on this topic, you already know. It's the hot topic of the week. And we'll do this every week at this time period as we broadcast live. What the big issue is that we're all talking about. And this week, of course, it's abortion. And you see it exclusively in the gay format of Gay America at It's Happening Out. Thanks for watching It's Happening Out, America's most popular live talk show. If you liked what you heard, for example, every single thing I said, or you didn't like what you heard, for example, every single thing they said, then keep tuning in. Click and subscribe and watch It's Happening Out. You're going to love what I have to tell you.